While there has been an influx of new players and developers currently in the Sandbox developer preview, a ton of interesting questions do get asked from time to time in regard to some of the game's development itself in the Sandbox Discord. And one of those questions is about copyright. Copyright has definitely been an on and off topic for discussion for quite a while. Now, while there has been some times and mentions about copyright, the only official thing that has been mentioned is on the FacePunch website itself. Under the IP policy of the legal section on the site, it mentions, FacePunch respects the intellectual property of others and we expect the users of our services to do the same. So while this does slightly answer the question about copyright, let's go back into the idea of Half-Life Alyx assets that were a part of the game when it had first switched over to the Source 2 engine and then were removed, as this does deal with copyright. I've mentioned in my videos previously as the reason of why the Half-Life Alyx assets were removed, so let me just catch you up to speed. It was mentioned by Garry that he wanted to have the assets that would be a part of the growing collection of free assets you could use when creating your games at Sandbox. He decided against this specifically for two reasons. The first reason was he felt as though he didn't want the Half-Life Alyx assets to characteristically define what Sandbox would look like or be, which makes sense since there's already Garry's mod, which is a mod of Half-Life 2, while Sandbox itself is an entirely new and different game that boldly tries to go in a different direction regardless of the controversial Terry Sausage characters. The second reason was Valve always wanted another additional 10% with royalty fees that would be a part of every single Sandbox purchase on Steam. As we know, Steam's current store agreement policy takes a total of 30% for each purchase. So with the 10% on top of it, doing basic math, that's 40% total of the profits that goes directly to Valve. This can be quite a bit considering how much Valve is taking specifically from each sale, only just to add in the Half-Life assets. Once more again, for the people arguing, well, that's stupid, he should have just taken it because of the Half-Life characters define what Garry's mod is and what the game is trying to be at least. Again, Sandbox is a different game. Yes, there might be some similarities, and yes, it is a moddable game, but it's the only third-party officially licensed and approved game that's being developed using the Source 2 engine outside of Valve themselves. That's completely unheard of. Literally, nobody else gets to have access to the Source 2 engine except for Valve themselves. And, well, now of course, FacePunch as well too, because they also keep getting code updates directly from Valve to put within their version of Source 2 for Sandbox. So even Valve themselves see something of potential with Sandbox, because otherwise the game would have not even existed on the Source 2 engine, if at all in my opinion. It'd just be on any of the other game engines that are out there right now. Okay, so going back to copyright, there has been a ton of new interesting RP related games that are currently within development on Sandbox, and some of them relate to certain worlds of the Wizards. I'll just call that for the sake of trying to be clever. Post-edit Iridium here. So I wanted to go back into Sandbox and actually get a screenshot or video of proof that there was this specific thing, which was Hogwarts RP within Sandbox. Now, I tried searching for it, and probably as what you're about to see, and it's literally not even there anymore. It was there originally, and I'm not sure if it's privated or it has been nuked by FacePunch themselves, but I know that this also had happened within Garry's mod as well too. I'm just kind of, it was there, okay? It was there at one point and it's not there anymore, so I don't know what happened. So there goes a good chunk of the video, but either way, just back to the video. Personally, I'd think that this would be a perfect time and hopefully would make a really good and informative blog post to notify and speak directly to the community to clarify and also be transparent with what is actually possible and not crossing the line, specifically with intellectual properties and also copyright in general. So I know you're wondering and saying, what about Garry's mod? That game's been around for at least 17 years and there has been no issues with it at all in terms of the assets, models, and more that are used from many other different type of intellectual properties. And personally, I think that's a really good question, but that's really the true mystery, which I don't think I'd want to get into. Regardless, while FacePunch, Garry, and the rest of the team are working on the development of Sandbox, hopefully at some point within the near future before release, there will be at least some form of update or mention of the copyright and IP policy rules for the game. Truly, even though I've mentioned all these things, the number one thing people would even do unless it's enforced is still port and create the games and assets that they want in the game because they truly love them very much. Speaking about games, check out this video where I talk about Pixels, a multiplayer pixel drawing game on Sandbox. Thanks for watching.